Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, we getting ready to come at you from a whole different angle. Real Life Fox 5. It's your boy Wayne the Voice Matthews, the area on Don, the Weezy F Veezy. Hey, look, I'm stretched out. My man Phil hooked me up with this big old beanbag joint. Man, and my knee hurting so terrible. Stretched out on this joint. We're going to do the show from here today because sitting in that chair is just a little rough on me right now. We getting ready to go one-on-one with the VZ in just a few moments as we getting ready to talk to my man Kenny Foot about some incredible stuff involving youth sports around the area that you got to get hip to. Now, typically, we run down the line on a lot of different sponsors. We're going to talk about that after the fact, though. We getting ready to holler at my man Kenny now. Let's see if we can get Kenny in here. Where'd Kenny go? There we go. Bang. Man, there we go. Got it all set up. Gotta be in tune, ladies and gentlemen. The state of Maryland's trying to put these rules in effect to try and shut down full contact football during the months of January through July. You gotta be hip, man. We gotta come out. We gotta show that the youth sports community can be unified in a strategic way. As we get ready to bring my man Kenny in, we're gonna talk. And once again, they calling me. Look, you see me on air. Please stop calling my phone. Don't call the phone. Kay, what's going on,
Don't
man?
interrupt the not much, man. Don't interrupt the broadcast, man. Don't
Hey,
interrupt the broadcast.
please don't be calling me. I know they're gonna try. I know they're gonna try. For many of you at home who have no clue who you getting ready to sit down and rock with, we getting ready to go one-on-one. Me and my man Kenny Foot, they representing for Gladiator Sports Group. If you're not hip, you don't know, you're gonna get a chance to find out now. Kay, good morning. How you doing, bro?
Man, I'm good, Wayne. I'm good. Everybody's snowed in, so we got a little free time on our hands. I figured we talk a little bit, educate the
Yeah.
people, see if we can galvanize the community. We all about togetherness, man, and partnership and doing things the right way. So I appreciate you, for having me on. We always trying to get together. Sometimes the schedules don't match, but I appreciate it.
Hey, always great to have you. For many of people who watching at home who for some reason have no clue who you are, let's tell them a little bit about Gladiator Sports, what you do with the Bucks, and give them some background as we can. That way, when we continue to talk about other things that'll build.
Yeah, so basically, they've issued another House bill similar, well, not necessarily similar, kind of similar to the one they issued last year. I think it's a big misconception.
Kenny froze. Look, they calling him. They calling him every time. Every time. Everybody's home, so I know it's gonna be tough, but this is a show that has to go out. I see Kenny still lagging me. Give him some time. Give him some time to get it situated. My phone, you can hear it blowing up, and we lost Kenny. Obviously, phone calls, because once Facebook put the notification out that you on air, you going one-on-one with the how they do it, why they do it, but they continue to do it, man. It is incredible. We want to get you in the loop. We're gonna break it down. Let's see if we can get Kenny back in here. Bang. Lost him. Come on, Kay. Come on, Kay. Bow. There we go. Back. See, they calling him. Now he gonna need the shirt. He gonna need the shirt. He definitely gonna need the shirt. I see it. See, now you know why you need the shirt.
Yeah,
They be calling you.
don't call me. Don't call. Just give it a second. Give us a second, man. We'll talk it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what I was saying was is that they're issuing another bill. This bill is different in the details or what they're actually asking for. Last year was a lot more. Let's just say like more like a lightning bolt statement. We're going to eliminate youth football. That type of rhetoric. So what happens is that
Yeah.
mostly everyone can agree that they do not agree with the elimination of youth football, right? So what happens is that you get a
Right.
large amount of people like last year to come out to Annapolis, and we have a great show of solidarity, right? This year they smartened up a little bit with the help of some other leagues. I have an idea, but I don't have any factual evidence. I don't want to put anyone out there like they're on the other side of this. But with the help of some other leagues, Delegate Hill has come up with the idea, or now introducing the ability to eliminate or regulate the times in which we can participate in football, right? So like right now, basketball is a year-round sport. Baseball is a year-round sport. Lacrosse is a year-round sport. Cheerleading is a year-round sport. You name it, they do it year-round. Almost all sports are going annually now. But this bill is now issuing a timeline where football can be played. And the timeline is similar to those of us who probably played in the 90s, in the 80s, the 70s, where at the time, football and most sports were only done seasonally. They were only done like in certain times of the year. And so historically, up until like the last maybe 15 years or so, I would say, historically, football was played from August to December. But that's everybody. It's the fall time, right? So the NFL schedule, the fall time. So they're basically proposing that we go back to that. The issue with that, there's a couple things. The issue with that, one is they're not requesting that every contact sport only be played once a year, only football. And there is no evidence that states that people are getting more injured in the game of football than any other sport. There's no hard concrete evidence that would state that. So we're opposed to that. I want everybody also, as I'm jumping around a little bit, to be a little more informed in the thought of the whole concussion debate, right? So right now the debate is really moved from actual physical concussions, what we all know or see, where you see a player injured for leaving a game, right? He's holding his head, he doesn't know where he is. And they're more so speaking to a term which they used a lot in Annapolis last year, which are called subconcussive forces, right? So when they speak of subconcussive forces, they think about, they're talking about the very, very small contacts, incidental or or intentional, right, that occur, right? A kid bumping into another kid, not where they're actually trying to make a tackle, but on a play they're just kind of bumping and whatever. And to give you an idea, right? And I don't want to minimize the purpose, but to give you an idea, right? Everyone undergoes subconcussive forces, right? When a toddler,
you get a
right,
subconcussive blow pillow fighting.
That's right,
you get a
right?
Subconcussive
Exactly.
blow pillow fighting.
Absolutely, right. There is a rate for the type of subconcussive force that you would feel when you're hit with a pillow. That's true. A toddler trying to learn to walk, they fall, right? They bump their head. That's a subconcussive force, right? So we're talking about a very, very small amount of force applied to the head, right? That over time, what they're trying to do is, or what people that are in opposition to the sport are trying to do, is link the amount of those subconcussive forces to later having CTE down the line, right? And there is no viable research to support these things, right? So why are we still introducing bills? Why are we still trying to regulate something when there's none. There is no evidence that has been produced anywhere to say that these things are a direct cause from playing youth tackle football or youth football in general,
There's so many things about this that bothers me when I saw it. And I also go back and I refer back to last year's model. And when I did that, it just really transcended. Last year, they wanted to take it away completely.
Yeah.
Now, we just want to take 6 months. When did it get to a point where youth sports or youth football had to go where we gotta compromise or bargain with the state about whether we can or can't participate in it? I'm wondering if there's an ulterior motive behind this, because when you see the way it's structured, it's like If we can't do away with it completely, we're gonna get our hand in your pocket. When I say that term, I say that in this aspect. Because now, if you say you want to limit it from January to July, that's one thing. The terminology that is used in the initial proposal is only a skim over of what I'm pretty sure she's going to put in on March 7th. This is just a bunch of scathing topics just for you to go, okay, this is what she's remotely going to be talking about. But by March 7th, she's going to go into a great amount of detail into what she wants to do and how she want to do it. The other part about this concern me is that the conversations that were held, she said, or was alluded to, that she was having conversations with coaches and organizations and leagues that were in agreement with her shutting it down completely. Now, let me ask you this. They never said that about rugby. They never said it about lacrosse, boxing, basketball. All these sports played all year round. Now, mind you, up until about maybe 10 years ago, when you made an incredible point last year, when Mike and a couple other people started up and started playing full contact in the spring, everybody clamored for it. It was a very strong statement. Now, all of a sudden, it's the problem. You want to come back and say you want to shut it down and you want to shut it off. But we're talking about somebody who's saying these things are based upon facts that they have collected or data they've collected in a sport that doesn't even keep stats itself. We don't keep stats on the quarterbacks, the running backs, the receivers. So how can you tell me you're keeping track of injuries?
So we thought the same thing, and I don't want to. Let me be clear right quick, right? So this is not the Kenny Foot show. This is not something that that I'm trying to fight or do by myself. I had a very I felt like powerful conversation with some guys that are really heavy in youth football, some of the pioneers of what you're just talking about, spring football. Rick Taylor, the chairman and founder of the Greater Metropolitan Youth Football League, the GMYFL, Kwesi Ahoisi, the president and founder of the Baltimore Terps, and many other leagues in Baltimore, and Andre Magic Robinson, who is a regional director of the United Youth Football League, the founder of the Baltimore Stallions. He's one of the original founders, the guys who brought AYF football to the state of Maryland, him and Jason Young. I think Team Maryland is the first AYF conference in the state of Maryland. These guys are not just the average coaches or what. These guys are influential guys. They called me. We met last Saturday at IHOP out in Catonsville, and we sat for hours and talked about this stuff, man. And we have all decided that we want to do something about it, right? So we could just cut to the skinny of it a little bit. We believe that in order for us to put a final stop to all of this, what they're begging for us to do is take our own destiny in our own hands. All right. At this point, if we don't come together, when I say we, I mean the football programs and the organizations that did not have a chance to sit down with Ms. Hill, right? Because she hasn't said who, but she has said that she has met with football leaders and organizations and programs, right? And they are in support of this, right? Now, I don't know who they are. I haven't seen them. They've not coming up and spoken and said they're in support of it. But maybe it's not the people that are saying they're in support of it. Maybe it's the people that are sitting back quiet and have nothing to say at this time, but had something to say last year, right? So be wary of the people, who are sitting in the back silent. They're not necessarily on your side because they're not saying anything. So what we decided is that we would like to galvanize and or call on the help of all the league representatives, presidents, program representatives, presidents from Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Charles County, Montgomery County, Prince George's County, to be the first people, because we make up the majority of the youth football played in the state. And especially when you start talking about those of us who are taking our kids beyond the state lines, competing on a national level, they're coming from these areas. And I'm pretty sure that these are not the people that Ms. Hill was sitting down having a conversation with. We are also the group of people, we are also the area that is actually supporting spring football. Again, with Mike Anderson, creating the grassroots football league, which now you see how that has changed the game. With Rick Taylor following with the GNYFL Spring League, which was off maybe those who weren't considered elite, just regular programs, not an all-star type situation, which Mike had going on. Kudos to those guys for being the founders of youth spring football. You got to do your history. You have to understand that before that time, it was only being played August to December. But guess what? The whole state of Maryland was looking for an outlet. If they weren't, it would not have been successful. So that was a choice that people made. That was a choice that people made.
It was wanted and beyond wanted. I don't understand, but that's why I want people watching at home to understand this. It's not a witch hunt. I'm not out here to say anything or disparaging about Delegate Hill. I believe that the information she's got has led her to believe where she is in it, and as a representative of the community, if you, the community, don't reach out to her and let her know your feelings, your concerns, your grievances about the things that's put in there, these things will continue to be presented with a jaded perspective. It only speaks to a few when you talk about the masses that are impacted by it. So please, when you watch it, don't think I'm just sitting there trying to, oh man, I'm me against the government or anybody else of that nature. Nobody has any animosity towards anybody. This is something I think that is calling for all of the organizations, all of the teams, all of the leagues, if for nothing else, to come together and say, hey, look, we can put some things in place where we can be responsible for our own destiny, because if we let them do it, who knows where it's going to end up.
So like let's look at it, right? A lot of the areas in which I just talked about, many of the teams in those areas are also affiliates of national brands, right? Whether it be American Youth Football, whether it be United Youth Football League, Pop Warner, right? And these national brands have mandated to their programs that are choosing to use them as their governing body, right? They're mandating them certain rules and restrictions, and we follow them. Starting in August or starting in July, you can't practice until a certain time. You can't play on certain days. There's a bunch of stuff that the AYFL, the UYFL, and Pop Warner dictate to the programs who choose to accept them as their national governing body, right? What we're saying is that why should we wait for our state government to tell us what we should do when we're already accepting the mandates from someone who's not even in our state or locally accessible to us, right? When we can just create our own.
Right.
This isn't a Maryland Buccaneers thing. This isn't a Gladiator Sports thing. This isn't a Patuxent Rhinos thing. This isn't a Baltimore Stallions thing. This isn't a Baltimore Terps thing. This is a
it's everybody thing.
This is a the state of Maryland youth football thing. It affects all of us, everyone. And so the thought process is that we now have an opportunity. Rick and Kwesi and Magic, we all said, and Magic kept saying over and over, and kudos to him and kudos to Kwesi, over and over again to say, hey man, listen, we have to be the example. So listen, if it's just us four, right, and I could influence, the Maryland Buccaneers, or I could have some influence or possibly, let's just say to talk to the league that I'm with, the Southern Maryland Conference, AYF, and I could speak to those guys and they could agree upon it, and Rick could speak to his league in the programs within his league, and the same thing with Magic and the same thing with Kwesi. If we can just get some people to just adhere to some type of unified format in which we administer the game of football, right? I do believe that there are delegates also in the state of Maryland that also sit on that same committee that also are in support of what we're trying to do. But if we won't regulate ourselves, then they'll have no choice but to pass legislation and regulators. I mean, you see it all the time. We have an opportunity now to get in front of it. Delegate Jay Walker is a delegate out of Prince George's County. He is a enormous advocate for football and youth football in general. He is, right? The guys on College Saturday Game Day calling games on ESPN. He's a football guy.
Right.
He'll tell you. He's a delegate from Prince George's County. I'm sure he is not opposed to football operating year round. But I guarantee you, if he doesn't see the people in his community making any step forward to take matters into their own hands to create some type of regulation for ourselves. This isn't Kenny Foot saying this is what every program in the state of Maryland could do. This is Kenny Foot and Magic and Rick, right, and Kwesi saying, hey, listen, let's come together, right? We created a name for what we're trying to do, the Urban Youth Football Coalition of Maryland, right? It ain't nothing where we trying to get teams to come play for the GNYFL or man, play where you gonna play at. I could care less. I'm sure they could care less from that. This has nothing to do with that. This is not about business, right? This is about policy.
It's about unity.
It's about policy. It's about unity. It's not about business. You know, it's not about, you know, ways in which we can transfer funds and help each other out. That's not what this is about. You know, this isn't about playing football between the lines, right? This is about the common link that we all have, that our children have. And while I may be in a good situation, there's a family out there, there's a kid out there that all they have is football. They don't play baseball. They don't play basketball. They don't play lacrosse. And so if you take football away, they're not going to play those sports. Man, listen, football has had a natural.
And you got so many families who opt to play football in the spring since it became available that they don't participate in it in the fall. Exactly. So if you're going to let the state come in and tell you when you can or can't play the sport, it's kind of crazy. I also had a coach, and I don't know how you felt about this. I had a comment come in on one of the postings we did this weekend that said that this was a long time coming as a result from the insurance companies wanting to get out of it. And I was like, well, I haven't had the chance to do the background research on it, but I guarantee you this. If nobody gets straight before they calling me. They be calling me. Don't hang up, Kenny. Don't hang up. They be calling me, man.
I'm not gonna hang up. I'm here. I'm here.
Man, they be calling me, man. Hey, look, if you want to chime in, you can do so in the comments box, ladies and gentlemen. Don't try it. You can send a message through Messenger, but do not try and video chat through Messenger. The camera is not going to allow that. Do not call me directly. We're not going that route today. Yo, this is a one-on-one with Kay. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who opt to play in the spring that don't even do full contact football in the fall because most of the coaches, most of the players, they want to be at home on Sunday to watch the game. You do have some players who take a little longer to get it as far as the game is concerned, and they need that spring and that fall to work on what they got to get done. That's an option that's taken by the parent and the student athlete. That's a right, a freedom they should have. Not somebody come in and tell you, nah, you can't do it. You can't do it now. You can't do it then either. You know, it's just discouraging. It's discouraging to even imagine how many different levels something like this could really impact the community on. We haven't even talked about the mentorship, the team camaraderie, how the community gets together, the parents meet in the bleachers, develop relationships, friendships that carry on forever and ever. And not only the activity of the student athletes. So when you start talking about limiting it or taking it away, what other programs are you offering to subsidize it if you're going to take that away? I've never seen anything of it. I ain't never heard anything of it. But then that draws me back to the initial statement, which is you don't even have concrete reason to cut it off in the first place.
You don't. So there's no research again. There are going to be a bunch of theories brought to our attention on March 7th on why you should be in support of limiting youth football and youth tackle football, you know, to just a certain amount of months, right? But there is no evidence, right? There is no research directly related to the state of Maryland and youth football as it pertains to the state of Maryland, because there is no database created in the proposal. It's saying a database should be created. So this is what I would say, right? This is what I will propose, right? I will propose, and I'm going to say this when we get to Annapolis. I will propose that we have an opportunity, right? Now understanding the severity of the situation, we have an opportunity to come together, right, and create a unified code, similar to the coaches association, the high school coaches association, and they all come together and they adopt a set of guidelines that they are all going to adhere to, right? It's not a state law, okay?
Right.
It's not a penalty that can be enforced by the state,
right?
All right. It is a collective of guys, a collective of coaches, a collective of administrators choosing to adopt a set of guidelines that they are going to govern themselves by, right? So I will propose we would propose that we try that approach, and in that approach, maybe we try to build a database. We can work with the state to build some type of database to track player injury, to track how they're being injured, to monitor if they're coming in and out of games. But here's the thing, Wayne. While all of these things and ideals are great, the truth of the matter is that there aren't enough state employees and people around right now to regulate field usage, to issue field permits. Hey, listen, I love the administrative staff at the Prince George's County Boys and Girls Club and Parks and Recs. Big shout out to Teresa Robinson. Big shout out to Tammy and all the ladies in the office doing all the work. They will tell you they are swamped every year just trying to issue field permits. Now, are we going to also throw on them the ability to create databases and monitor databases for players getting injured? It's just not set up for that. And my thing is, before we go and start issuing legislation, those are the things that we might need to address first, so we can have some viable data. Because, okay, in all fairness, right, let's just think about it. We have to accept, right, from league organizing stuff, that there is an inherent risk associated with playing contact sports. We can't be so naive to believe that there isn't some risk that our children are incurring by playing youth contact sports, not just football, youth contact sports. You know what I'm saying? So we have to accept that, right? But the answer isn't always elimination. Sometimes it's regulation. But how can we regulate without any data? So before we start to issue out any legislation, we probably should spend more time trying to create the database and track these things so we can have some viable evidence to then say, hey, guys, we've been watching this for the past 3 years. We've seen a rise or a decline in activity based upon, whenever the kids are playing or whatever. I'm not a researcher to that degree, but I'm saying something along those lines. Before we just come along and just say, hey, you know what, let's just do away with it. Let's just eliminate when they can play. We don't know that these things will help the issue. This is the fact, Wayne, and everybody knows this. Youth football is on a decline in the United States of America because information is now being presented to parents that they didn't have before. So they're making their own conscious choice to choose when and if the child plays football, right? Why are we trying to take that right away from a parent? It's already a decline. There's a natural decline based upon information being presented. So why are we now trying to escalate that and force it to be eliminated? That to me is a question that still remains to be answered directly. There are a lot of lightning rod statements being thrown around. I am with you, and I believe that people that are aligned with the way that I think are also in agreement. I don't think it's a stretch to say that youth football.
They calling them.
They calling. There we go. Yeah, that youth football.
They calling me.
That youth football in the state of Maryland is a big deal. It's a big deal, and it wouldn't be a far stretch to say that out of all of the possible local government, whether it be county or not, regulated sports, that it is the one that's probably least regulated by the county. None of the county leagues anywhere in the state of Maryland are bigger than the private leagues, independent leagues in the state of Maryland. None of the county rep organizations are bigger or more successful than the independent youth organizations. These are just facts, but that's not our fault.
Right.
The counties and municipalities for decades had control of the sport. They had control of the sport. And then
Right.
entrepreneurs started realizing, man, well, ourselves. And they started to. And shout out to the pioneers.
Right.
Again, shout out to Magic, man. Shout out to Mike Anderson. Shout out to Jason Young. Shout out to Kim Cherry. Shout out to Mike Keys. Shout out to Brian Hawkins. You know, shout out to the guys and the ladies who took it upon themselves to take the sport into their own hand. However, the ball is now falling back at your feet. It has. And I know that I'm more from the younger generation, or say the next generation of football leaders and organizers. I'm a lot younger than them. I'm coming behind them, but I'm full of energy and I'm ready to go. So I would call on my peer group as well. The ball is falling now at our feet, right? They set the tone. They gave us this opportunity. They afforded me the opportunity. I was able to sit down with 3 legends in this area. There ain't nobody that's in youth football that probably don't know who those 3 guys are, how important they have been to youth football in the state of Maryland. You know, I had an opportunity to sit down with them.
Right.
I'm asking that Kim, Mike Keys, Brian Hawkins, Jason, any of these other league owners, right? League founders, league presidents, I'm asking that we all sit down and no different than our high school counterparts have created the state of Maryland High School Football Coach Association, right? We can do the same thing. We should do the same thing and develop a set of guidelines that we are all going to adhere to. There isn't a person I just named that isn't accepting a national set of guidelines that they follow in the fall. But everyone that I just named is heavily active in spring football as well. This is our time. This is our time. And so, you know, I'm going to reach out to them. You know, we've already decided that's what we're going to do. We have to do it. You know, and it's a voluntary thing. You cannot be a part of it. You cannot accept it. And that's fine. That's more than fine. But don't say that you weren't invited. Don't say that you weren't thought of, you know? And when you're talking to these parents ask them, well, do you guys have any set of guidelines? How do I know? Is it okay for my son to just be out here just, you know, practicing every day of the week all year long and hitting every day of the week all year long? Do they know? Are they following a set of guidelines? If the answer is no.
But see, the funny part about that is, Kenny, I go around to a lot of teams and watch a lot of teams practice, and most times during the course of the earlier end of the week, most teams ain't out in full pads. They going over play installation. So a lot of times when people see football or hear the word football, they thinking that every day these kids is going out helmet to helmet, pad to pad, and a lot of it is far more mental. Like my man noted in the comment, far more mental and more about body mechanics versus actually going in and just clanging like 2 rams at the top of a mountaintop. So some of it is misconception. A lot of it is they really don't know. And that's the part that kind of concerns me is a lot of the people who are speaking or must be speaking clearly have never done a tour. And I'm not just saying that in terms of the DMV, but just in general. A lot of different youth organizations and teams go about things differently as they go on. A lot of these student athletes have position coaches. A lot of these players go to different camps, combines, and different instructional things away from it that also add to what they're trying to do. And even in with the teams being able to play in the spring and the fall, you also notice the influx of student athletes getting Division 1, 2, and 3 scholarships because of the exhausted amount of time, effort, and energy playing the sport. So of course you're going to get an accelerated play level. You celebrate seeing them sign commitment letters to such and such university and such college, but you're going to sit here and do the things that will hinder that happening? Come on, man. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to be controversial or stir nobody's coffee for you, but I want you to be able to look at this from a broad spectrum, ladies and gentlemen, and understand that if guys don't get together and unify right now, the state is going to come in and try and do some things to change the game. I can sit here and speculate on what different angle they're gonna go down the road. That's no different than me trying to tell you what the end of Avengers Endgame is. I don't know for sure. I can just speculate it. But I will tell you this: there's a lot of student athletes that benefit from playing football. And ironically, another term I was talking about when I read that proposal says football related.
There you go. The
Now,
camps, the
it says
combine.
football related. It says football related in the proposal. Now, you get up there and find out they want to throw rugby and lacrosse in the mix. You don't know. But full contact is full contact. And if you're going to focus on subconcussive is damn near everything you play.
Nah, yeah, you're right, man.
What would you like to see with March 7th at 1 o'clock coming up? What would you like to see the community do in terms of trying to stop this from taking place? Because the other misconception is people in Baltimore think, oh, that's just PG going through that. Or Mid-Maryland won't say nothing or speak up because they think, oh, that's just down in PG. That don't affect us. No, let me help you out, ladies and gentlemen. Maryland is Maryland. It's going to impact everybody, whether you go in there and fight for it or not.
Yeah,
so I don't know if you heard me because your screen.
You know, I heard you. But basically, what we are. I'm sorry. What we're asking or what we're suggesting is that, you know, when March 7th comes around, and really even beyond that, but let's just say March 7th be the first step. What we're asking is that people show up with the same amount of support efforts they showed last year. Again, there's more of a crafty approach this year to, I believe, ultimately get to the same goal. There are programs in the state of Maryland, there are organizations that do not participate in spring football. They don't participate in tackle football in the spring, right? So when you present an issue like this, last year you had the whole youth football world focused on one issue. Now what you do is you take half of that, right, away because it doesn't concern them. They don't care. They're not interested. They may actually agree with it. They may actually have some vested interest in there not being spring football. They're not being spring tackle football. They may be an organization that does flag or 7-on-7 in the spring, but they don't do tackle. So they're thinking, okay, well, you know what? If we're to negotiate here, fine, do away with tackle football in the spring because it doesn't affect them. So this is again.
Screen froze. They calling them.
I'm up to something.
They be calling you.
I'm up to something.
I'm going to send you a shirt
first. So, you know, they may be an organization that it does not affect them, right? So they're less apt to, you know, come out and support it. But Kwesi said something very important during that meeting, and I respect him for it. He's trying to start lacrosse in Baltimore. Not trying to, he is, right? He's got lacrosse started in Baltimore. Prince George's County just started the lacrosse league in the spring. It's going to be pretty big. I think it's a good thing or whatever, right? He's not doing spring football, right? But what he said is, you know, Kenny, in any attack on youth football or the way in which we operated and them trying to legislate things to us, whether I 100% agree with it or not, I understand the bigger issue. The bigger issue is that they'll take a small thing, get that passed, get people conditioned to thinking that it's okay and things are moving in the right direction. And before you know it, we won't have anything. We have to stop. We have to take any attack as and treat it the same way as the things that are more dear to us. And so that's kind of my position at this point. That's our position at this point. We're asking people on March 7th to come out in support of, but beyond that, to let's be men of our word. You know, we're us four are saying we are willing to do it. What we would like is for everyone else to come and be a part of it so it can be something tangible and real. So that way, when we come back next year, right, we can no longer come back and say what we're going to do. We can say what we have been doing, right? The steps that we have taken and the solidarity that we do have. And at that point, we could dead the whole conversation. We don't need any legislation. Thank you, but we're good. There are other issues that are plaguing our state that our delegates I believe should be focused on. This is not one of them. And the
Right.
way in which we stop that is if we come together and we create the legislation ourselves. We create the regulation ourselves. Again, it's no different than what they're doing at the high school level. But the high school level is concerned with high school football. Youth football is not high
Right.
school football. It's not, right? So we should come together and focus on what's going on in youth football because that's our realm. And there's some very high-profile coaches. There's some very, very influential leaders, organizers, event planners, right? That we all have an opportunity to come together and have a conversation. Hey, listen, we all got each other's numbers. We know who we are.
Everybody done played everybody at some point in time. You done ran into each other. Yo, it should not be difficult for the community to come together. I understand politics and all, but this is one thing that universally is approaching everybody systematically. Now, my man Troy Franklin had put down here in the comments, he said, question, fellas. If the amount of contact allowed is controlled at the most elite level, why shouldn't that be the case for youth football? Now, I noticed in the comment before that he wrote where he knows teams who practice and they hit all week long. These type of conversations are the ones that those are the organizations you got to address, because now you start talking about coaching level, coaching understanding, coaching implementation, and how each individual team does things differently. Now, if the most elites don't even use pad up all week long, I don't know what you seem to accomplish if you got kids running around hitting 5 days a week. I don't understand that myself. But personally, like I said, in touring around, I've never seen it. It sounds like it would be egregious, even if a parent was to stand there and watch it. I don't know a parent that would sit there and watch their kid hit all week long.
Yeah, no, and I
know the kid get in the car going, Mom, they go get in the car dinged up. They go get in the car dinged up.
Absolutely. And so to Troy's question, which I think is a great question, I believe that most people are in agreement with. That's not the issue. The issue is whether we're going to regulate ourselves or we're going to allow other people to dictate to us what we can and cannot do, because they don't have a barometer of what is too much or not too much. We do. Delegate Hill could not come forth with this information if she had not conferred with a youth football program, right? But they're only taking it from their perspective. They're not every youth football program. They don't operate like every youth football program. Okay, so there are youth programs that operate just like the high school programs. They have time practices. They have individual periods. They have subgroups and teams. You know, they film. Yeah. They do all of these things. So again, there are people that are doing that. It's a big misconception that every football program, every football team is hitting every day of the week. And I don't personally agree with it. And I'm sure the people at the higher levels of youth football don't agree with it either. That's my point, though. That's my point. When are we going to come together and create the structure that everyone can follow? Again, it's a choice. It's a choice. It's a choice. But it's only a choice as long as we're in separate parts of the state having these conversations. If we can all come together and settle on one thing, trust me, we can make it the way it's supposed to be. It will be respected. If we all just agree to it. Again, how many AYF conferences are there in the state of Maryland? I know 4. How many teams?
Right.
And how many teams per conferences are there in the state of Maryland? Hundreds. How many kids and families? Thousands. And I'm just speaking of the AYF because they have a big footprint. I'm only using it as an analogy. Right. I don't think they're doing anything wrong, so I don't want to put it out there. I'm just giving it an analogy, right?
Right.
What if we all agreed that while we're going to support our national regulations, we're going to create our own regulations that we all internally will deal with for the times that they are not mandating, right? How many people, organizations, and programs would that affect if the heads of those organizations, right, just met and said, hey, this is what we're going to do? That's 85% of the kids playing football in the spring right now.
Whoop, there it
You know what I'm
is.
saying? So then you add in the other leagues, right? Right, they get along with it, right? And so now you start to develop some type, again, unified code, some unified front. I don't think it's something that's absurd, man. Again, all of these people have contacts to each other. They're all accessible, man. It's all about just finding a Saturday, finding a Sunday, a venue, and let's just all come together and have a very open and conversation. I don't really see how there could be much turmoil in the room because we're all here because we just want to continue to provide our service to our families for each program.
Right. That's an impactful statement, man. And I appreciate you not only taking the time to come on. I know we had an incredible conversation yesterday. Not everything for everybody, but everything is good for everybody. Um, I want to encourage you to continue to keep doing this thing because I'm gonna keep pushing on my end. We gotta people. We gotta get together. March 7th at 1 o'clock. The hearing is coming up. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. You need to get out and let your voice be heard. If you can't make it out, make sure you send emails. Make sure you send comments. Type your comments here. Let's let the world know that the state of Maryland is serious not only about our youth football but our kids that participate in it. The people and the parties that regulate, manage, and legislate over it. Hey, we can come together and make some sound decisions without the state coming in and trying to just shut the lights off and everything. All right. So, Kate, want to give people a chance to get in contact with you to find out more about Gladiator Sports and a lot of the stuff that you're working with. How could they go about reaching you if they wanted to get in contact with you?
You can reach me a variety of ways. If you're on Facebook right now, you can always send me a message. My phone number is extremely publicized at this point. You can call me at 202-300-5029. Shoot me a text or anything like that. You can reach us in regards to Gladiator events. You can reach us at Gladiator Sporting Events at gmail.com. Go and check out the website. Our website gives a lot of information on the things that we're doing in the way in which we're approaching spring football and the events that we do. And that is gladiatorsportingevents.com. You can go onto the website. It's a contact us page. You can contact us. You can see our rules and regulation, how we operate. You can go to our documents page and our safety page to see all the different ideas and tools that we provide to assist in what we're saying. We just, the Maryland Buccaneers Youth Club is my personal organization. You can check us out at www.mdbucks.org. We have the Maryland Buccaneers Maryland Buccaneers Youth Club on Facebook page. We're on Instagram at MD Buccaneers. Same thing with Gladiator Sports. Like I said, man, at the end of the day, it's less about Kenneth Foot the man or anything like that. I just really want to, and anybody that's talked to me, they know that this is a true thing. I just want a situation where we all can come together on something. We can't always come together and compete and decide, on league standpoint. This to me is beyond all of that. It's beyond all of that. It doesn't matter your league affiliation, your league, who your national. None of that stuff matters. It's about if you are a resident and or a participant of youth football in the state of Maryland. That's it. That is one thing that we all share. That is a fact. We are residents of and operate and participate in youth football in the state of Maryland. That is something that is
Hey,
the thread that keeps us all on the thread of commonality. It's something that we all share in common. So like I say, man, I'll be reaching out to guys or whatever, and see if we can come up with something. But March 7th, man, make sure you guys come out. Wayne, I always appreciate you, man, providing the platform. You don't always get the thanks or the appreciation and stuff, man, but you do a heck of a job being a person to be out in front of this stuff, man. So I appreciate you.
hey, I just try and keep up with it, man, because so many people are impacted, and I noticed that as I looked around, and I go from stadium to stadium, practice field to practice field, league to league, and I see my man made a statement said many egos won't allow a meeting like that to happen. I hope ego isn't a reason to stop us from getting together
biblically, they always say pride go before destruction, and I would hate to see that be something that be a recourse to Maryland youth football because of pride. But I will say this: we got to do better for our communities, and when you got guys like my man Kenny out here doing great things, you got my man Magic doing stuff, you got Rick out here doing things, you got so many different youth organizations really trying to make a difference. It really kind of feels like a kick in the shin when everybody celebrates how so many of these student athletes are getting Division I, Division II, and signing commitment letters not even 2 weeks ago. Now all of a sudden, oh man, cut it off. Well, I hate to tell you this, I love student athletes who got those commitment letters, who got that exposure, who got that experience, who were well prepared when they went to high school, was because they had a quality youth sports experience. So let's not lose sight of what got them here and what has been continuing to be a resource for student athletes to move forward. Man, as always, I appreciate you taking your time and stopping in and talking, man. And it's always an honor to rap with you, Kay.
Man, absolutely, man. So I appreciate it. One last thing before I go. The guys brought up something to me Saturday, and I want to make sure I say it because they would want me to say this. Listen, go online and find out who the delegate is in your county, in your district. If you have an issue, email them. It could be a 5-sentence email. You do not agree with the House bill. You're opposed to it. I promise you, they are public servants. If the public pushes back in their areas, they will knock this down. We do have a semblance of power as long as we stick together. We are very, very weak when we're separate. We are extremely powerful when we're together. They have to represent your best interest. But if they don't know that you're interested, then they'll sit just back and be like, "Oh, well, they don't care, so pass the bill."
Yeah.
Pass the bill.
I totally agree.
So,
If we never speak out, we never say we disagree, they're gonna sit up there like I know what's best for the community and just keep passing stuff. So you gotta keep your nose to the ground. You gotta be hip. I know a lot of you parents watching this at home. You in your individual grind, whether it's going to work, coming home, making sure your kids are straight, go to church. You got that set circle, and somewhere along the line, information may slip past you or slip through your fingers. We're going to keep trying to get you the information you need to know about here at Voice Sports, and with a lot of great people like Gladiator Sports Group and so many of the great youth leagues around the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, we want you hip. But please, if you're watching this and you are a Maryland resident, do not think because you're in Baltimore, this doesn't impact you. Do not think because you're in mid-Maryland, it doesn't impact you. This is not a PG County proposal. This is a state of Maryland proposal. So all the ego, all the pride, all the issues at some point in time have to come to a head, because if you're sitting here trying to structure your spring season, if March 7th doesn't go right, you're wasting your time.
That's a fact. Good point, man. Great points, man. Great points, man. So yeah, man. Look,
All right.
yeah, I'm gonna jump on the phone and send out some feelers today. Some people or whatever, man, and let's just try to come together, man. That's all it's about, man. Everybody come together for some type of common goal. That's all it's about, man. It ain't about pride and ego, man. You know, that's unnecessary.
No.
Somebody could be the leader of it.
Hey, but
I don't never mind talk. I like to talk. So.
You know what bothers me though, Kay, sometimes? And stuff like this takes place, and the first thing people go, well, I ain't know. I ain't never heard of it.
Yeah, they know. They know. A lot of times, man, it's easy.
I mean, I hate to say it, but yo, plausible deniability only goes so far.
Yeah. Man, look, a lot of times, man, we all have personal, listen, all right, before we go, I'm sorry, I gotta say it, listen, we all have some type of personal investment in the game of youth football if you are a league organizer or an event planner. Everyone understands this. It's part of it. You know what I'm saying? However, the bigger part of it is ultimately, like you said, these kids and the opportunities they have beyond that. We didn't become a top 10 recruiting probably top 5 at this point, recruiting base, then that's DC, Maryland, and Virginia combined, right? By accident.
Right.
It wasn't like that 20 years ago.
No.
It is strictly because of the amount of time the kids are spending doing the sport. So let's just all work together to make it safer. Because guess what? They are going to say, and to a certain degree they're right, that that's what they're trying to do. But they're not on the ground doing it. If that's the case, the county municipalities will still have control of the sport, but they don't. You want to know why? Because the independent people are the ones out here that are on the ground with these kids, with these families every day. It's not the other way around, man. So, it affects everybody, man. You don't sit on the bench and be quiet, right, and not say something thinking you're trying to protect your personal investment. You need everybody. We all need each other. We all need each other. So if it doesn't affect you personally or from a business standpoint, then still come and listen. Still come be a part of the solution, because ultimately down the road it's going to affect you too. It's going to affect you. That's a fact. Right. That's all I got to say. I don't want to extend the conversation. That's all I got to say. Anytime you want to rap, Wayne, I'm always up to it, baby. Always up to it.
No, we good, man. I'm excited about Ocean City, man. I'm ready for Ocean City, Bangla. I ain't gonna wear the Scully cap though.
Yeah, man, we gearing up, man. Look, if we could get through this spring stuff, all man. Right. I told y'all, man, I got some. I'm up to something, baby. I'm up to something. I'm telling you, I'm up to something. They know it. I'm up to something. Always up to something. Yeah.
Always good. Ladies and gentlemen, get in contact with my man Kenny Foot today. Find out more about Gladiator Sports Group. Do what you can. The community and people involved in it care about you, care about it. Thanks, Kay, for coming on, man. I appreciate you so much, man. It's an honor.
No problem, man. Absolutely. Hey, y'all, shit.
Yo, please like, love, and share this video everywhere, especially if you're a Maryland resident. If you know a Maryland resident, send it around. The last thing I want somebody to say to me is this all went down, it all transpired, and I didn't know. I never had a chance to hear. We here at Voice Sports want to put you in the position to be successful by letting you know all the options available. March 7th at 1 p.m., there's going to be a hearing stated where in the state of Maryland, Delegate Terry Hill would like to propose that from January to July, no full contact football would take place. Yo, if you got many people who want to play in the spring and might not want to play in the fall. Some may want to play spring and fall. It's their choice. What I want you to do is take an opportunity, review the information, look at it all. I know you got opinions. I know you have discrepancies. I know you have positive input. Use your voice, ladies and gentlemen. Your delegates are there as a representative of you. You voted them into office to be a representative and stand in place for you to say, hey, I am speaking in regards for these people here in the community. If they're off base, it's up to us as the community to get them straight. Make some noise, y'all. Send some emails. Hit me up in the comments box, but share this video everywhere. I'm not going to run down my sponsors because the views expressed during the course of this one-on-one with Kenny Foot are those of Wayne the Voice Matthews and Kenny Foot alone. My companies, my sponsors may not feel or agree with me, so I will leave them out of this. This is about you, the community, getting the uncut. All right? I tell you what, you be good to each other, put positivity into the universe, and you'll get it back. Hammies, Mom! Ah! I want my jersey. 3 o'clock. Catch you out back. You know how we do. All right? Hey, of course, as always, it's your boy, the Arion Don Louise F. VZ Wayne Voice Matthews. Baby, get knowledgeable. Find out more. They say, the Bible says our people perish for a lack of knowledge. Don't be the one. Don't be the one. Hey, thank you for watching. You got voicemail one-on-one with the VZ.